makes no sense. And we all know it's subjective. It's the opinion of one appraiser, things like that. But when you're the client buying this house at this point, your head is turning all over the place. How does
Yeah.
it, is it really worth 200K less? Is it really worth this? That's a big gap.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back to the Closing Table. My name is Kevin C. McIntosh. Joining us on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Nimesh Patel. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kevin. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Appreciate your patience first and foremost. We already know about that. But yeah, man, we are here to talk about your knowledge and talk about your expertise in your market. So let's get into it. But I want to start things off with an icebreaker, just a little social game. It's called Fill in the Blank, and I just need you to complete these sentences that I have with the real estate knowledge that you have. You ready?
Let's go for it.
All right. Let's start this first one. Every real estate agent needs to know blank.
It's not easy.
Good answer. Blank makes clients feel more comfortable.
Trust. Easy.
I believe blank will make the real estate industry better.
Genuine human interaction.
Indeed, especially with technology, right? Last one. My real estate market is mostly affected by blank.
You already know this one. Low inventory.
It's like I could read your mind. It's like I heard that before.
I think we're all reading the same mind.
I know, right? Good. Well played, man. Appreciate that. So let's get into it now. I like to separate the person from the profession. So if you can, in 60 seconds or less, tell us who you are outside of real estate.
Outside of real estate, I like spending time with my family, my friends, loved ones. Not much time I get away currently from the business. So, every minute I do is appreciated to spend with, my loved ones essentially. It's funny, everything's just on the fly with me, but other people need planning. And sometimes it's like, well, Nimesh, do you want to hang out in like 3 hours at 8 p.m.? Like, I can't make that happen. Like, where are we going? Right. What are we doing? I'm like, I got some time. This is where I can squeeze it in. You guys are important to me. Let's just go hang out, do something. I like to stay involved. I'm not a homebody. I don't like just, doing things on my own. I mean, certain things, right? But
so. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, man. See the time scheduling thing, man, especially, in your industry and your profession, like you make your own schedule. With me, like I know I have to be somewhere at 8 o'clock to, 8 to 5 and that type of thing. But you're more in control of your schedule and the way things flow. So I can completely understand that.
It feels like
engulfed in your life.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it feels like that control of that schedule is still not there. Right. Like,
man,
when you're just so like passionate about what you do and wanting to help your clients and have built, a successful enough business, it's hard to put your clients on the back burner when things are moving as fast as they are.
Yep. I bet, man. Everyday struggle right there. All right. Well, thanks for letting us into your window right there. So let's talk about where you're serving right now. I want you to describe your market first geographically for us, right? Yeah. Where you are, notable landmarks. Paint the picture for anybody who may have never been there.
Yeah.
Then let's get into the economic side with what's going on with real estate.
Yeah. So I myself grew up in Plymouth, Canton area. So I feel like a lot of what I do surrounds this area. Plymouth, Canton, Northville, Novi, even Ann Arbor and South Lyon, I feel like that drag is kind of where I focus a lot of my energy. And the unique thing about, or the similarities with a lot of these places is they got some sort of downtown, which I feel like really attracts people. You got a lot of options, a lot of things to do, whether you got kids or, you're an individual or a young couple, you got restaurants, parks. Things are always going on in like that city life. And so I think, every one of these areas that I just listed off here have that to offer, and I think that's a huge attraction, whether it's downtown South Lyon or downtown Plymouth or Ann Arbor. So I mean,
Hmm.
I'd say that's the geographical area. I work out of my offices in downtown Plymouth. So
Okay. Okay. That's interesting because I've had other agents serve that area. I'm not too familiar with that area. Actually, been in the Detroit area. I've also went to school in the Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor area.
no, yeah,
Currently in the Lansing area. So yeah, it's always interesting to hear about those markets that I haven't necessarily visited. That's why I also like our guests to paint that picture for people who may have never been there, and bring it to life. So I'm glad you said that. You said more family oriented type environment and things of
correct,
that
yeah.
nature. That's good.
Yeah, you got
That's
it's
good.
not just like total suburb living, right? There's small downtown, so it gives you a little
Mm,
bit of both. You want to
okay.
plan a weekend to do something in the downtown areas. If you go grab a bite to eat, go shopping a little bit. There's, art in the park is an example that you see in a few of these downtowns. So
Okay.
there's always a lot going on.
Okay. More of like a, like you say, small town kind of like vibe, not like
Yeah,
a
not big.
rural
Yeah,
type of.
yeah. It's a small town. You're not just out in the boonies or anything like that.
Right, right. Okay.
But you are in a suburb feeling where you got your typical neighborhood families and houses, kids riding the bikes on the
Mm,
sidewalk. But a quick, short 5-10 minute drive to a downtown or even a walk that allows you to
right.
do things. Being more active, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. All right, Nemus, you mentioned that your biggest fear used to be not finding your path in life, right? Can you share a personal experience where you felt you have found your true calling in real estate?
Yeah, I think it was a shift in mindset, right? In my early 20s, I never really thought too far ahead. It's just kind of go with the flow. I'm in my
Oh
20s.
yeah.
I got a job.
Man.
I'm making money.
Ain't that all of us?
right? Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where the differentiation comes in, right? At
Yeah.
some point, I think you got to figure out what you really want, and for some people, they figure it out early. Some people, it's later in life. I think
That's a fact.
for me, it took a few different things kind of aligning together, but the big one being my mom's health was, you know, going, at a rapid pace, in a
Mm,
downward spiral. And I knew she wasn't able to work anymore, and my dad was doing whatever he could to make, ends meet. And I needed a change where I felt like I could truly do my best to control the destiny of where the rest of their lives go, as well as what I'm going to build for my future self and my future family. And I think that
love it.
was the turning point that got me into real estate. It was outside of my comfort zone. I was happy to sit behind a desk and get through work, but now meeting families and understanding that I'm not the only one going through a lot of stuff, right? So to really interact with these families, understand their pain points allows me to really interact with them in that genuine human, interaction that we talked about in that, icebreaker game. But that allows me to
Hmm.
really focus on my clients and their pain points and their needs and help them get there whatever it takes.
Right, right. I love to hear that, man. Let me tell you something. First of all, you were spot on with the 20s, being in your 20s. And I mean, especially if you, I won't say especially if you've been to college, but in my situation, like I feel like I went to school still trying to find out what I really want to do. And I'm already paying for classes for something that I guess I'm supposed to already know what I'm doing. And I left just as confused. There's so many people who have degrees, even the realtors I've spoken with have degrees in psychology and social science or something random, and then you're not even using it necessarily. So sometimes
Kinesiology.
it come on now. Sometimes it takes those ups and downs and those different hurdles for you to really get to where you're supposed to be. And when you have this purpose that you've gotten to, there must be a sense of fulfillment now, right? You're helping your
Absolutely.
parents. That was one of your driving forces. Can you talk about the impact that it has on your community when you have this sense of fulfillment, when you feel like you're actually living in your purpose?
Yeah, no, I think it has to do a lot with growing, right? I think as humans, we're always going to continue to grow. And, what you want to make of it is how the community, the people around you are going to see it. So if it starts with you and you spread that positivity, that, game changer, mindset or mentality, I think it really starts affecting the people, right? I have a team of new
Right.
agents on my team, and my goal is not only for my parents and my future family, but their big whys and how I can help them accomplish the things they need to for their families.
Well said. Well said. It was a quote that I saw somewhere where it said, you get lost in yourself by helping others. I know I'm chopping that up, but it's in the sense of where you basically find your purpose by providing service to others. When you're providing value to others, you feel more fulfilled. You see that you're actually making a difference, and then you can actually like, okay, this is actually what I'm here for. So that what you said kind of just made me think about that.
That's
But we didn't always start here.
right. No, I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly believe in that quote. I
Mm-hmm.
truly have seen myself go from, I got into the business, wanted to do a really good job, become a top producer, but now
Yeah.
to me, none of that really does matter because it's what can I do for others? What can I do for my team, my family? How can I help support them getting to their goals and their dreams?
Oh yeah.
And that has a lot more to comfort to it than doing well for yourself.
Hmm. No, that's real because I know at the same time, and I spoke to another guest recently, and I never thought about it, but like if you're serving the area that you live in, you also get that sense of fulfillment in community because you can drive past certain houses like, I sold them that house. I sold them that house.
Right, right.
Like, I sold them that house. Like, it's like, yeah, like you really are building this community. So I can understand that feeling, man. It gotta be nice, man. So, and what I wanted to get at was, I love that you started off by saying you took it took a portion of your life where you had to figure things out. You weren't always a real estate agent. So let's
No.
go back prior to that, previous occupations. You feel like any of the occupations you held prior to being a real estate agent may have given you an advantage as a realtor? If so, how?
I wouldn't know like if there was a specific thing in what any of my occupations. I think all of them,
Okay.
accumulated to being able to help me grow in certain ways, right? Like I worked in the corporate life before I became a real estate agent, right? I didn't go to school for
Hmm.
anything business related, sales related, marketing related. I went to be a physical therapist. And things
I get
change,
it.
right? Things
Yeah.
change, and with that changing, you take on jobs along the way until you figure out where you want to be. And being in that
Correct.
corporate world, I think helped you know bring me up as a young professional, learn how to communicate properly, and
Hmm.
communication is
Hmm.
probably the biggest thing in this industry. But outside of
Facts.
all of that, I think it's just been work ethic, right? My first job was McDonald's, and for me, it was I was 16 years old. I'm going to climb the ladder. I'm going to get to the top as fast as I can. From there, I move
Hmm.
on to the next job, become a manager as soon as possible, and continue to do that. My last job, my goal was to win awards at these all hands company wide meetings. You do that, and so that work ethic is what I think I've taken away from everywhere. Every job has been different, but with the right work ethic and drive, you can be put in any position and take it to the top, in my opinion.
Mm, talk about it right there. That's the story right there, man. And and that speaks, like to your resilience also. A lot of people will get a lot of people would think McDonald's is it. Like I'm in McDonald's, this is where I'm going.
Right.
I'm going up from here. But when you have those aspirations, goals, and you're still trying to figure life out and figure out what your actual purpose is, you may go through a few different chapters of your life, is what I like to call. I've held all types of occupations from discount tire to restaurants to everything, only to end up here. And
Right, yeah, no.
you see what I mean?
And like you said, right, like sometimes people think like I'm here and like for example that McDonald's scenario, right, I'm here and
Mm-hmm.
I just got to stay here and keep going there versus figuring out the next
Yeah.
path. But I don't necessarily look at it that way. Like whether you're stuck in a place or wanting to just climb that ladder, maybe because it's comfort, whatever it may be, wherever you are, as long as you, like it could be McDonald's, it could be changing jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
wherever you're at, if you put in your best efforts and really come to work, I think you're going to see so much growth in yourself that's going to create these different opportunities for you to grow in more.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Well said. I'm glad you made that point. You also have a passion for sports that I've seen, and
I do.
you mentioned that it is a hobby that you truly enjoy. How do you incorporate your deep knowledge and love for sports into real estate by any chance? You find common ground with clients, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I think I mean I think a lot of clients that I've come across, have somewhat of a passion for sports, whether they're playing them themselves currently or just enjoy going to these sporting events, or they got kids that are in sports and they're the number one fan, right? So sports
Right.
is a commonality throughout a lot of people that I've interacted with. For me,
Mm-hmm.
how I, relate it to business is competitive edge, right? Sports is all about competition, getting better, chasing that championship or your goals. And that's how I look at it. Every transaction, especially in a competitive market like today, in order to find that success and truly enjoy it, you're doing the right things and you know how to get strategic, get creative, and be competitive. You're gonna lose, you're gonna win. That comes with sports. How do you take that and get better from it?
Mm. Have you had any situations where maybe you went to a sporting event with the client, or you went to a client sporting event or one of their children's to kind of build that relationship at all?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Really?
We have a program that we work here on our team, and it really focuses on diving deeper into these relationships, while beyond the transaction, sometimes even before a transaction starts.
Yep.
And I have clients that I now consider friends, and for me, it's any opportunity to get in front of, even if they're existing or past clients. Everyone knows somebody that might be thinking about buying or selling down the road. But to be able to
Hmm.
go and support your friends, your clients, whether it's their kids' events or take them out to a game yourself, it's just building on that relationship and continuing a lifelong friendship. And it's something I enjoy. If it's something they enjoy, it's a great way to do something outside of
I know.
a coffee date or lunch, right?
Hmm. The usuals,
Exactly.
coffees and whatnot. Yeah, Starbucks. I get it. I get it, man. And I love sports too, man. So I love talking about sports. So I love when I can have that type of common ground with somebody. So
Yeah,
well
it's
played,
it's
man.
like there's a very big commonality in, right, like sports. You're constantly putting in the reps, putting in the work. Real estate's
Yeah.
the same way. I mean, anything that you do is the same way, but you got to find some consistency and routine to really exemplify getting to that next level.
True, true. I like how you compare the two. Use those analogies. Yeah, love that. Situation where you may have had a pretty intense disagreement with an opposing client's agent. I'm sure you have had that situation. Can you speak on that specific situation and how it was resolved?
Yeah, no,
Or
I
maybe it wasn't resolved.
Um, we usually come to resolutions. We actually have a rule on our team, right? If you're going through something, something comes up, before you come to us to ask us, what would Nimesh do or what would Matt do,
Mm-hmm.
come with
Mm-hmm.
two either resolutions or solutions and at least present them to us, and then we can figure out if that works. And most more often than not, we find out that you already knew the answer. You were just hesitant on whether it's the right answer or
Right.
not. So, for me, yeah, I think this was about last summer. Was doing a transaction in Detroit and um, worked with the agent for the first time, but I've known of him and never had that interaction with him though. And my clients were purchasing, a big investment, and our initial appraisal came in like almost $200,000 low. And
Whoa.
like anyone that knows real estate, you need the property to appraise to be able to move forward, unless the client's going to cover that difference. Who's going to pay 200K out of
Right.
pocket for a house that's indicating that it's not worth it?
Correct.
So obviously, like the sellers are like, we're not dropping our price all the way down to 200K, and I thought that appraisal was off myself. So we did our part to try to get a new appraisal ordered, go a different route, shared comparable data that we think really supports closer to the value that it should have been at. And
Mm-hmm.
the next appraisal comes in right at value. So like, how do you go from 200K low to right
Please.
at value? That makes
What?
no sense. And we all know it's subjective. It's the opinion of one appraiser, things like that. But when you're the client buying this house at this point, your head is turning all over the place. How does
Yeah.
it, is it really worth 200K less? Is it really worth this? That's a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so, the seller side's like, well, the second appraisal appraised that value, so you move forward. Like, it's plain and simple. But as a buyer, you're just like, this is just such a big swing in a gap that it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
justify whether it's truly worth that 200K higher or 200K lower or somewhere in between. We don't know, and we don't feel comfortable. Seller didn't want to move. Agent was very adamant. I think he was kind of trying to control the situation himself, and not really having the conversations with the clients. And
Mm.
we came to a point where it was just a lot of back and forth. There were yelling done to people on my team that are helping support the transaction, and I don't take that lightly. Like, you can say things to me, you can yell at me, but these people are just helping support the transaction. Don't go at them about things that they have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
But eventually, my clients are like, what can we do? Like, can we ask for some money off, even though the last appraisal went there? And I'm like, typically it won't work that way because they have an appraisal that says this is the value. But
Right.
I got to do what's in the best interest of my client, what makes them comfortable. So I fought for it, and I got them to come down on price. After probably 2-3 weeks of back and forth. So that was a
Okay.
huge win, and my clients were
Yeah.
satisfied. But I think the bigger takeaway that I took from it is, after this transaction was over, the agent called me, and he was like, this was all you, man. Like, if we didn't have your patience, your ability to get creative and figure things out and justify how to make this happen, I don't think we would have gotten there. And so to have him come back after a not so fun transaction,
Right.
and
Exactly.
tell me that he knows it wasn't because of him. He knows it was the work that I put in to get it done, and he was appreciative that I thought and fought and justified as much as I possibly could to make it work. Because at the end of the day, he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want the deal to fall apart either. So
Nobody does.
we got it done. We ended up having a drink together at his office, and it was good to hear, right? Like, because you weren't
Yeah.
helping in any situation, but you took full ownership
Exactly.
of that. So
Right. That's good. Now that's resolving it. There's so many different factors in that situation. I don't even know where to start. First off, the appraiser. Where did they come from? Is this somebody that they knew already? Like, how did it get so far off? And then I completely understand the buyer's worry.
oh,
Like, do you know
absolutely.
what
Like,
like
my head would be spinning at that point. My head was spinning representing my client. Like, how do you even justify that from my perspective, right? And all I can do is just show supporting data. And yeah, I we knew from the get go it wasn't going to be worth exactly what we were paying, but we were okay with swinging a smaller gap that we had come to the
right.
conclusion on. But 200K swing, and then now all of a sudden it's actually worth what we offered.
Man, listen.
That's going to make you go crazy.
Yeah, because I'm gonna think like either the first one was very, very honest and it's not worth this, or maybe the second, maybe you knew the second appraiser and personally, and they brought him in there to make it seem like there's so many things I would have thought as a buyer, but
Right.
your due diligence, you brought it together, man. I mean, because they could have probably even accepted another offer.
They could have,
You see
yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
no,
Like,
exactly. And so, like, a lot of times it's communication, right? People are gonna get angry, egos are gonna get involved.
mm-hmm.
You just got to slow things down, think about, resolutions and how can you justify this. And, hey, if your client was in this position, their head would be spinning too. Look, we're not
Man.
trying to take advantage, but we're trying to make the buyer comfortable. You're going to get a good sale completed. And, other than that, you go back on market and it took some time to get this one under contract the first time. You really want to go through all of that all over again?
No. Please, no.
Right.
I get it. Man, well done. Good work right there. In your opinion, what's the most challenging aspect of the real estate industry? Two-part question. And can you recall a specific incident or situation that pretty much exemplifies this challenge?
Yeah, for me, I feel like I've found the struggles, gotten through them, found the resolutions, but the biggest struggle I'm seeing, and it's not specifically with me, but I see it industry wide because I like to get in touch with other agents and build some sort of relationship, even if we haven't done a deal. But I'm a big, supporter through social media, right? If I see agents in the industry, I'm gonna follow them, see what's going on with them, how things are going, and eventually meet up with them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with the trajectory of the way my career has gone, I am in a sales manager leadership position on our team, and I am taking in agents, under my wing, things like that. And this was a thing for me early on, and I see it every day with our agents as well as agents outside of the industry. Like finding consistency is a challenge. That structure, the habits, right? Everyone comes into real estate. I'm my own boss. I can make my own schedule, which, yeah, we,
Right.
we do have leniency with that. But if you want to build a business, your early years into the business are going to define what the rest of your career looks like. And the
Talk
early
about it.
years are where you got to build those habits, the structure,
Mm-hmm.
the consistency. Once you have a true routine, which is very difficult in this industry, you can go show 5 houses to a client that you've already secured and feel like you've had a busy day. But at the end of the day, once that client closes, where's the next business, coming from? Where's your next paycheck coming from? How are you supporting
Mm-hmm.
your lifestyle, your family? You can't just think about, I spent 4 hours showing houses today, made a couple calls to agents and followed up on these houses, and I had a really good day, right? It was busy. It can feel busy, but without truly looking for additional business to support your pipeline, I don't think you're going to find a true business, because once that transaction is completed and you haven't been working on the rest of the stuff, the consistent habits of forming more
Mm-hmm.
new relationships, now you're going to be, running around like, well, I don't know, I'm not going to get paid for a month, 2 months. And that's the hardest part I've noticed. Biggest challenge is getting that mindset to understand, like, getting new clients, working with clients actively is a great thing, but remember, we got them from doing something, right? Whether it's prospecting, networking, however your business wants to go about it. But you have to keep that consistency on that follow up, on that prospecting, because once these transactions start closing, you need something to continuously work, right?
Man. Ain't that the truth, man? And that is with any business owner,
Exactly.
man. I can tell you, like, you have to be working every single day, especially if you want to be your own boss. That mean, like, you're in control of your income.
Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
have to go hunt to eat. Literally, you have to
Exactly.
go hunt to eat. So if you don't have that mindset, like, you could fall back, you'll fall behind a day. A day could snowball into a week, a month, and then next thing you know, you're missing checks. So
Right.
I can definitely relate to that 100%. That's something you got to stay on top of, and I'm glad you spoke on it. We spoke on this earlier. Um, this was off camera, as a matter of fact. Walking me through the day of one of your most recent work days. Now, I know every day's different, so it's not like
Right.
you're gonna have the same answer. But I asked the most recent work day, or maybe your most recent busy work day. I
Yeah.
like to do this because everybody's Everybody's schedule's different. We spoke about time management earlier, and sometimes you can get ideas from other people's way of managing their day and their time that you can help incorporate your life. So if you can, walk us through the process of your most recent work day, how you manage your business, please, sir.
Yeah, no, of course. This week has been a great example, in my opinion. It's been a busy week. I typically wake up, around 6 a.m., read a little bit, catch up on emails, get to the gym, and then I'm at the office. And that's where I truly feel like my workday starts, right? And with that, we do prospecting in the morning, right? Your day gets so busy throughout the day, especially once you have a business going. Things get busy. If you get so busy that you forget to prospect, you're not building that next pipeline of clientele. You're not feeding,
Mm-hmm.
your household or whatever it may be, your lifestyle. So we make it a point on our team. It's part of that structure that we talked about is, hey, if you can get in an hour of prospecting in the morning, right? And there's so many different avenues of prospecting, but if you
Correct.
can get that in first thing in the morning, you knocked it out of the park already. No matter how busy the rest of your day was, you did your job to work on feeding your business for the future, near or long term. So it typically starts with an hour of prospecting calls. We jump into a team huddle just to kind of go over, the activity of our prospecting, our day, the following or the previous day, just to, it allows us to share ideas, share, what's going on with the team. That way, someone else is getting insight to what's going on with this person, the market in this area, whatever it may be. It's to help hold each other accountable, truthfully.
Right.
And
Ooh, good one.
from there, we go in. From there, I got pretty much majority of my day for, showings, which is a big part of my day. This week, I got 3 deals under contract, so I got 3 inspections coming up. Right, that means
Mm-hmm.
negotiating through those inspections. I wrote a couple more
Mm-hmm.
offers this week as well. So taking the time to chat with my clients, talk to the agent, see what it's going to take. Doing that stuff, hitting these inspections throughout the week, and then we like to do, coaching sessions, training sessions, role plays a couple times a week with our team just to, sharpen our skill set. So I tend to lead those for our team as well. So, when Wednesdays and Thursdays we're doing a role player training. Um, every Thursday we do a full team meeting where we're going to, over all transactions, where we're at with our business and our pipeline and our goals. And we start a group chat as well that says, anytime you get an offer accepted or something pending, let the whole team know. That way, if they got a client in that market, they know what it took for you to get that, and we put the details of what it took to get that. So that's usually how my day goes. I'm typically, looking to get lunch around 3, 4 p.m. sometimes, and like that's just when it allows me to. And
Right.
for me, it's getting lunch on the road every day essentially, and then I end my day
Mm.
typically around 8, 9 o'clock. I'm trying to do better with a little better efficiency to get it done sooner for at least a day or two during the week so I can have my lifestyle. But
I feel it.
that's an adjustment for me because I was just so used to going, morning till night for the last 3 years. But now I'm in a place where my business is kind of, in the direction that I need it to go. So I can, manage to get, some personal time in at the end of a day or earlier towards the end of the day.
There you go. There you go. Good, man. Good, good. That doesn't seem like a too bad of a for you to end your night around 8 or 9. I mean, it's later than the normal 9 to 5, obviously, but for someone who's managing their own schedule, it doesn't seem bad because I feel like I've spoken to a few agents who may even go past that
Yeah,
with families, like with entire families, and I'm like,
yeah.
how are you doing that? Like,
No,
I mean, to each his own.
right, yeah, and I did that for the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still times that it's gonna happen, right? I feel like
Of course, of course.
yeah, we have the right to control our schedule to a certain degree, but we're essentially working for our clients. If they see a
Mm-hmm.
house at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and there's a deadline the next morning, I'm going to be talking to the agent for a good 10, 15 minutes. I'm talking to my clients to structure our offer. put the paperwork together, get it over to them, put a nice email together, get it back. So sometimes it does go towards 11 midnight, and that's okay. But I think I found structure in my lifestyle at this point to be able to know, this day is not going to be as busy, so I can take some time at 7, 8, 9 p.m. to kind of relax or do
Right.
hang out with my friends or family.
There you go. There you go. And also, you also said that you're still adjusting. You're still looking to make adjustments. Still trying to give yourself a little bit more time and be a little bit more efficient too. So it's like we said earlier. It's an everyday struggle to evolve and get better.
Correct.
Get better. Looking back on your journey, key lessons that you learned about yourself, the industry, and the importance of serving others. Second part, how do those lessons shape your future goals?
Key lessons. Communication. That's been one that, and I continuously strive to get better with this. I think articulating and slowing things down goes a very long way, right? It's a fast-paced industry, a fast-paced business. It's easy to just right, like have these
Yep.
conversations because you want to get on to the next thing. But when you're in front of a client, when you're looking to pursue a home, you really got to think, slow things down and make sure that they have a clear understanding. So I think communication, first and foremost, is always going to be big. There's always room for improvement. You make mistakes with your communication style, you know, with one client that you don't want to happen again. So how are you going to improve from there, right? And sometimes early on in my career, like, I might be talking with the husband of the household, but wife's actually really making all the decisions. So we weren't on the same wavelength in terms of communication. So, how do you improve from
Mm,
there? Hey, start asking questions early on. Is there anyone else involved in this purchase? If so, I like to make sure that we're all on the same page through communication, whether it's a phone call, text, make it group text, phone calls, make sure both are available, things like that. So, in just the way you articulate things, because not everyone buying a house knows the terms and things that go into real estate. So how can you articulate that, make sense for them, that way they have a clear understanding? And then really just consistency, habits, and structure. I will always go back to that because I truly think that is the downfall of a lot of agents that get into the industry and are out within a year or two, and that's a huge number in our
dang.
nationwide. So without coming up with a routine to structure yourself, I think you're gonna have a hard time because every day is just gonna be like, well, this came up, and you spend so much time doing that you don't think about everything else that goes into the business. And how's this shaping me for my future goals, my aspirations? Is you know I am a team leader now, and it's beyond just me, but I have to set the right example, right? I could be selling X million-dollar, amount of deals, and my newer agents aren't, but if I'm still not showing up to the office at 9 a.m. to make those calls, not attending the, trainings, things like that, what's going to make them think that they can, right? You got to lead by example. So I will, as I continue to grow as a leader and as we continue to grow our business and our team, that's something that, is always going to keep me humbled to, ensure that I continue to do the things that I'm asking of my team and in setting those expectations from the get go. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I think, you know, for me as a leader, it becomes easy for a lot of people to say, well, I got 15, 20 million sold already. Like, I don't need to do this, this, and this. But, as we talked about earlier, for me, it's more about, providing that value to others and my team and
Yeah.
in the community. And if we can set the right habits and consistency up front, not only will we be doing a better job serving our clients, but they will have a business that they're excited about. They will hit their big whys and their dreams, their goals.
Facts, man. Well said. I love that, man. Consistency, communication.
Yes,
That's what I
sir.
took away from that. And I love that. Thank you so much, Nimesh, for pulling up a chair to the closing table and being part. We appreciate that so much. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell the people how to reach out to you, please do so now.
Yeah, I'm Nimesh Patel Realtor. That's my handle on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. The Talbot team is the team that we're on. We are opening a new brokerage here in 2024, Redefine Real Estate. So
All
you'll
right.
see a lot coming for that as well.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much again for being a guest. We appreciate that. For our YouTube audience, if you've gotten to this point in the video, do us both a favor and hit the like button, please. And thank you. Make sure you also subscribe to our channel and share the content. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. And I'd like to leave our audience with a question before they leave the chat. So this is for you, audience. How did discovering your passion and purpose in this career contribute to your overall sense of fulfillment? Don't tell us now. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, we'll talk to you next time.